much for joining the today's demo session. So in today's demo session, it would be conducted by Mr. Gaurav. So he is an option trainer at Quantsapp. So whatever queries you have with regards to the application, you can for sure post it into the chat box over here, wherein he will be guiding you through like some of the tools in the application and how one can make the most out of those particular tools in the app, and how exactly the tools in the app are going to enhance your options trading. So that's what we are going to be looking into towards today. So yeah, meanwhile we'll just hold for like couple of minutes just for our other participants to join the meeting, and then we'll take it forward from there. So yeah, also if anybody faces any sorts of queries, please feel free to reach us out in the chat box. Meanwhile, I'll just forward the controls to Mr. Gaurav.
So, hello everyone, and I'm Gaurav, and I'm option trainer in Quantsapp. And today we are taking the demo session regarding the some tools of the Quantsapp application. We will be looking towards how you effectively you can use them, how you can use them most efficiently and in a better way. So we're gonna see some of the tools, maybe three or four, and if the time permits, we'll see maybe additional one or two tools. And so I'll just brief you regarding the concept. So back in 3 years, we have started with 9 tools in the application, and within a span of 3 years, we have reached to the almost 48 tools altogether. Out of which, 30 is in the free tools, 17 is in the premium is a algorithm premium tools, premium tools, and one is the premium algorithm tool. So so this was about the concept, and today we are looking so we'll take the tools that we are looking today. And before taking to the tools, I'll just quickly take you through the new user interface that we have launched recently, very recently. So this is the new user interface that we have launched here. So this is more looks like a mobile phone user. You can see the banners on the top, and below that you have the list of all these tools that we have. Then particularly you can also filter by tools if you want to see the additional tools, or you want to see the analytical tools, you can do so. Or you can also search for a particular tools here as well. Suppose gainer and loser. So you, as soon you'll start typing, you will get the tools accordingly. So this was one of it. Then we have also added how to use any particular tool. Then you have the learn section where you can where you have the option courses, various option course articles, strategies, and demo video. Then you have the deep link share and book a demo for any particular if you want to book a demo for it. So this was the new user interface. Then you have the home button which redirect you to the main screen, and here is the list of the tools. So today we are looking tools that we are taking today is the architect we are taking. Then we're gonna look into the built up tool, like how you can use the built up result analysis, and in the last we're gonna see the stop and target. So these are the four tools that we are taking today, and I can say that these are the some useful tools which you can use by making some of the uh, mm, by making your payoff diagram, by looking how the build up is going on, which gives in a good idea and good idea about the the kind of market participant behavior. Then looking into result analysis, and then looking last into uh, stop and target. So these are the four tools that we are taking today. So we'll start with the architect. So if I say and what is architect? So architect in general means that you are making something, you are building up something, you are making in a rough idea or estimate how the like any something will gonna look. So in the concept option architect tool, you are doing so same, but here you are doing in respect of options and future. So suppose अगर आपको देखना है कि कोई स्ट्रेटेजी है, उसका पे ऑफ कैसा रहेगा, if you want to look into that, because making your strategies would be very difficult and calculating their payoff, it's very hectic at many times. Calculating payoff at different stages would be more difficult. But here we're gonna see how you can make it, how you can see the option Greeks, you can see the payoff diagram, you can do the analysis, resource analysis, sorry, scenario analysis. Then how you can see modify your strategies. Suppose you've made something and you want to modify your strategy, how you can add or delete the legs. So we'll start. So first we have to go to the add button. So this is the when you add a press add button, you get this small pop-up where you are defining a strategy. So suppose you are making a strategy on Nifty. So we are taking example as on for the Nifty. Then you can see the future price over here. You can see the future price over here. Most of the time, so see, we have right now the future expiry, sorry, monthly expiry. That's why we are getting the future prices. एंड सपोज अगर ये स्ट्रेटेजी आप वीकली एक्सपायरी के टाइम बनाते या बनाओगे कभी व्हेन यू विल बी यूजिंग दिस टूल, देन यू विल बी लुकिंग हियर एट द फेयर प्राइस. तब वहां पे आपको फ्यूचर प्राइस नहीं दिखेगा, देन आपको दिखेगा फेयर प्राइस. सो फेयर प्राइस क्या बोलते हैं? सो फेयर प्राइस इज योर एट द मनी स्ट्राइक. तो फेयर प्राइस में जो प्राइजेस रहेंगे वो निकालते हैं आपका एट द मनी स्ट्राइक प्लस एट द मनी कॉल ऑप्शन प्रीमियम माइनस एट द मनी पुट ऑप्शन प्रीमियम. तो अब इससे क्या पता चलेगा आपको कि फ्यूचर्स तो आपके पास केवल मंथली के रहते हैं, तो टू रेप्लिकेट दैट यू कैन यूज अ फेयर प्राइस, एंड द दिस इज हाउ यू कैन कैलकुलेट द फेयर प्राइस, द फॉर्मूला इट इज. सो अभी तो मंथली एक्सपायरी है, दैट्स व्हाई यू कैन सी द फ्यूचर. अगर ये वीकली एक्सपायरी पे बनाते तो यू माइट हैव सीन द फेयर प्राइस ऑफ द योर सिलेक्टेड सिंबल. uh, then you have to decide whether you are taking the options or futures. So you have both the options, whether you want to do with the option contracts or the future contract. So sometimes you make you wanted to make any strategy based on both, so you can do so, or you want to take the options, you can do so. So we'll take the options for the option for the example, then expiry. So we are taking the next week expiry, as today is already expiry and we won't be able to analyze and do the scenario analysis. So let's take by next to next week. So we have taken the expiry. So you might have noticed one thing, as I change my monthly to from monthly to weekly expiry, यहाँ पे future से fair price आ गया. So I told you the calculation why we are taking, because we don't have the so future weekly expiry. That's why we are calculating the fair price. Below that, so अभी हम बना रहे हैं निफ्टी पे एक स्ट्रैटेजी बेस्ड ऑन ऑप्शन. एक्सपायरी हमने लिया है 11th of Feb का. स्ट्राइक प्राइस, नाउ यू माइट बी लुकिंग हियर कि ये जो स्ट्राइक प्राइस है ये अपने आप एट द मनी पे आती है. सो सपोज यू वांट टू टेक कि अभी मेरा एट द मनी कहाँ है, इन द मनी कहाँ है या आउट ऑफ द मनी कहाँ है. सो you don't have to worry, you just have to make the strategy and you can see the first will be your at the money. अगर आप कॉल ले रहे हैं तो ये आपके लिए इन द मनी हो जाएगा, ये आउट ऑफ द मनी. अगर आप पुट खरीद रहे हैं, पुट से स्ट्रेटेजी बना रहे हैं, तो दिस विल बी योर इन द मनी या आउट ऑफ द मनी. इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. So let's take the at the money strike. Then it's a call option, and call option है quantity and whether you are buying and selling. So suppose you are making a buying strategy, so you will add your leg. Now you can see the lots of thing over here, as in you can see the details about the your strategy details. उसके नीचे ऑप्शन ग्रीक्स, उस पर्टिकुलर लेग का ग्रीक्स जैसे डेल्टा, थीटा, वेगा, गामा एंड आईवी. And above that you might have noticed again you can see the delta, theta, vega and gamma. So अब कौन सा भी दो दो बार ये क्यों बता रहा है? So I want to tell you. So अगर आप कोई strategy बना रहे हैं just to looking into कि then you will see आपके अभी हमारे पास एक लेग है. So एक लेग का मेरा ग्रीक्स ये है डेल्टा, थीटा, वेगा, गामा, आईवी. सपोज अगर मैं यहाँ पे एक और लेग ऐड कर दूं, let's take one more leg. So we can gonna take options. We're gonna take our expiry on 11th Feb. Prices strike. So let's take हमारे पास already एक call option है, हम एक put option भी ले लेते हैं. So we're now gonna take a put option of the same strike, and we are buying it. तो ये हमारा बन गया long triangle. तो हमने long triangle बना दिया अभी. एक normal call long call को हमने एक triangle में convert कर दिया. So now you can see कि मेरे एक लेग का ऑप्शन ग्रीक क्या है, सेकेंड लेग का ग्रीक क्या है. आफ्टर लुकिंग इनटू इट, सो मेन प्रॉब्लम आती है जब वी like anyone is making any strategy, either you, me or anyone. The point is looking at ki what is the option greek of the combined strategy, what is the option greek for the each leg, and that is one particular thing which one should be consider while making any option strategy. So कभी भी option strategy बनाओ, never forget the Greeks, because Greeks are the basics for any option strategy. Greeks gives the most significant idea like how your option premium can move according to certain factors depending on the different scenarios. So I hope I'm clear till here that what we are doing and why we are using the option architect tool. So now you can see the Greeks of the combined strategy. Then you have the use legwise reset and table. So in use legwise IV here, suppose you feel like the IV will increase or decrease for any particular strike or for any call option, put option. So you can also adjust that particular IV for the for making this strategy. Then you have the restart will delete everything, and the other table view. So table view we're gonna see at the last of this particular option architect session. Now if I move to the right hand side, so what does right hand side is telling me? You can see the right hand side is a payoff diagram. Then you can see the lower and upper bound on the upper side, and you have the scenario analysis. So why we are doing so and why we are looking into the payoff diagram and everything. So always remember, जब भी आप strategy बनाते हैं, स्ट्रेटेजी बनाने के बाद सबसे जरूरी ये जानना होता है कि कब कोई ऑप्शन स्ट्रेटेजी कब कितना प्रॉफिट देगा. uh, One second, I think there's some issue with the voice, so let me check with the technical team. So just give a second. Sorry for the disturbance. Like I think some participants did not able to hear anything. So we'll resume the session. So I was saying कि why we need to look into the payoff diagram, why it's so important. So आप कभी भी strategy बनाते हो and while playing in the options on the derivatives, so you always want to have a profit or you want to secure your losses by doing hedging. So you might be doing something, but in option everything is calculated. In options, like uh, even one small point, if you 1 second. So when I say कि कोई भी strategy बनाया and payoff, why it's so important, and the reason of looking into the payoff is it gives you a significant idea whether this strategy will work or not. Either you are taking any single call, single put, whether you are buying it or selling it. It always remember to look into कि at what level, किस level पे मुझे profit start होगा, किस level पे मुझे loss start होगा, किस लेवल पे मेरा एक एक्सपेक्टेड प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस हो सकता है, डिपेंडिंग. सो प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस डिपेंड्स ऑन वेरियस फैक्टर्स, ऑप्शन प्रीमियम डिपेंड्स ऑन वेरियस फैक्टर्स. सो बट हैविंग अ ब्रीफ आइडिया कि इफ आई वांट टू से आई कैन सी कि मेरी वाइट डॉटेड लाइन मेरे आज का पे ऑफ बता रही है एंड दी ऑरेंज लाइन गिव्स मी द आइडिया अबाउट द प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस ऑन द एक्सपायरी डे. इफ आई एम लुकिंग कि अगर मैं आज ये स्ट्रेटेजी बनाऊं और मेरे पास 11 फेब की एक्सपायरी है, तो आई कैन सी कि दिस इज माई पे ऑफ फॉर टुडे. तो अगर आज निफ्टी में कोई बड़ा मूवमेंट नहीं आया या अंडरलाइंग स्टॉक में कोई बड़ा मूवमेंट नहीं आया, then still I won't be in that much of loss. But if sudden movement comes any side of the any side, so I will be making some amount of the money from here. So this is why it is very important to look into the payoff diagram. Now in the same way, if I say कि expiry तक जहां मेरा अंडरलाइन स्टॉक था, अभी भी वहीं पे. So you can see there's a huge deep into the option payoff if uh, if the underlying won't move too much till the expiry. So it's give me an idea that अगर आज strategy बनाया बॉस और इसको अगर expiry तक hold किया तो I won't be making any money. I will be losing my premium till the time. So this is what we made a long call. So I can understand, I can see, I can analyze my payoff for any option strategy that I'm making. Uh, this is why making any strategy and analyzing into the option architect is very important, because it gives an idea. Okay, this is going to my payoff for the particular day, payoff for my expiry. I hope you are clear with this part as well. And if you want to, if you have any question or you want me to repeat, you can put it on the chat box. Now going further, so this is what the underlying movement. If the underlying moves for, so if I say कि आज मैंने स्ट्रेटेजी बनाई और आज ही अंडरलाइन 13,560 पे आ गया, so I can say that my PNL will be around 3,000 rupees. But if I say the same movement come on the day of till the expiry, या फिर निफ्टी remains at 13,560 on the day of expiry, so I will be losing 20k on a same strategy. But if the moment come today, I will be earning 3,000 rupees. So this is why I'm looking here what could be my expected payoff depending on the movement of the strategy or the underlying. Sorry. Now we're gonna see and gonna look कि एक option may how you can do the adjustment of looking into other things. So if I say so Mr. Shit Mr. Shitang, sorry if I'm taking your name wrong, so please forgive me that. So so Mr. I have a question. What we have to do for scenario analysis after 4 5 days at some market price, like on first wave market goes to 14,500. Yes, Mr. We are just moving towards that into the scenario analysis. So so if I say that so today is 28th, okay, and we have the expiry. You can, I think you can see the calendar. We have expiry on 11th, so we have taken the expiry of 11th. So we have roughly around 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 days, 14 days to expiry. Now you can see here we have the 14 days. So you can see the slider and the day written here. So it's a day slider. We have 14 days to expiry. Now if I say Mr. Shitwang asked me what if market will be on 1st of Feb. So if I say 1st of Feb को अभी टाइम है 1 2 3 4th डे में मेरा 1st Feb आएगा. So I'm doing scenario analysis and now looking कि how the payoff will be on the 4th day. So 1 2 3 4th. Now I'm on the 4th day. Now you can see जो पे ऑफ एकदम जीरो पे था, जो पे ऑफ जीरो पे था, now you can see that now the payoff will be into the part of negative side. Now further he asked कि what if Nifty sorry underlying goes to 14,500. So now you can see, I can zoom in here. You can see the below strikes. If on a day of 14,500, approx, if you can see 14,500, and this is somewhere here. So around the level of 14,840, 45, that's near to 14,500. I can see that roughly my payoff for that particular day, on that, as in the day on the 1st of Feb, if the market goes to 14,500, payoff will be somewhere to around 12,460. And the expiry payoff, and suppose uh, if that particular underlying stock remains on the 14,500 on the day of expiry, then you can see the expiry payoff will be 5,400. But you can see the payoff as on 12 as on the date of 1st Feb will be around 12,450 to 460. So this is how you can see ki and what level, on what different level you will be losing and earning money from your strategy. I think Mr. Shetank, is this clear with you? And so this was it. Now what happens? Making any strategy, either it's a, I would say, even it's a normal a long call or a long put now. Sometimes looking into the break even points becomes very crucial. अभी एक्सपायरी आज हो गई, so sometimes what we do, हम लोग एक्सपायरी के टाइम पे ट्रेड लेते हैं. And looking, I'll tell you the example. So we're gonna take a single leg. We're gonna take a single long call. We're gonna change our expiry. I don't think that we're gonna get any data for it, but still, let's see. No, we don't have any data for it, or I would have shown. But still, I will try to tell you. No, we can't see anything. So we'll keep for the 11th of Feb only. Long call for the 11th of Feb. So we don't have the data for today's, like expiry is gone, so it's not showing anything. Suppose if I have only 1 day or 2 days left to the expiry. So when we had time, you can see there was a huge gap between the payoff regarding the particular day payoff and the expiry day payoff. But as soon as we move towards the expiry, you might see the payoff started getting closer to the expiry payoff. और ऐसा क्यों होता है? क्योंकि because of the time decay, when you are buying an option, you're gonna losing money for the time decay, and there's a possibility that IV is also falling down. So this is why the payoff is going down. And on the day of expiry, आपकी जो white line है और orange line है, it's going to get combined. Why? Because I'm looking the payoff on the last day, और मेरे पास expiry का payoff भी है, तो particular day expiry and last day expiry is getting merged. Now I can see here. Now I'll tell you why looking into the break even point is so important. So आज my underlying, I have the 13,850 at the money call. Fair price is 13,840, like nearby. I can see for making profit today, if I am standing here with 13,850 call option. So suppose here, I just need a movement of around 40, 50 points, 50 to 60 points, 50 to 60 point to be in the money to make me profit. So if I have a 13,450 call option and I will be in the profit today, like suppose if the market makes a movement, if the market the underlying movement, if the underlying stock make the movement of 50 point, you can see my today's payoff is in the profit side. I'm talking about the 7th day, it will be in the profit side. But for the same movement to make me in the profit, it required the movement of it, the underlying should get to the level of 14,137. That's why taking any trade like nearby to expiry makes it very difficult to get into the profit, because on the day of expiry option theta, it's on a very aggressive side. So underlying needs to have a large movement to overcome that part. So I can see the payoff and I can do the analysis. To make me in the profit on a particular day, I just need a movement of 50 points. But वही वो चीज बढ़ के around और 70 to 80 point हो जाती है to get me something in the profit. So it's around 140, around 180 to 200 points movement you will be required. If you are only taking a long call at the money today, and if you want to make profit on the date nearby to expiry, you need to have a large amount of movement in the underlying. And for the and if you are taking any trade today, you can see just require a small, but is eventually it required a good movement to make you in the money, to which can give you the profit. So that is why looking into the payoff becomes that necessary when you are making any strategy or looking into it. And below that, if you are falling below the break even point, you're gonna lose money. So I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say, that uh, why it's important to look into the payoff chart, making your break even point for the expiry. And even a single point movement can make your call in the either in the money, out of the money, at the money, which could eventually affect a lot. And with the help of option architect tool of the Quantsapp, I can do so. I can make my own strategy, any custom strategy. If you're making any custom strategy, you can also look for the payoff. You can look for the Greeks as well. You can do the scenario analysis for your strategy. So this was about the option architect tool. I hope you have gathered a small information with regards to this tool. And if you have any question with this tool, you can ask. We're gonna take a minute of pause here, and you can ask. So Mr. Shetwang has asked, is the white dotted line made on the basis of option delta? So, so I'll say yes. This is based on the today's payoff. So if I say, if I am taking my IVS constant, I'm not taking the time decay. So on a particular date, the time decay will be there. So this is based on the your delta only. So the 1 point movement, how much it can affect. And I also forgot to take the IV in the scenario analysis. Thank you, Mr. Shetwang, for asking this question. So suppose, so this is the option payoff for today. And we have seen how the payoff will be on the different days. Now we're gonna see what, one second. So now say if I have made any strategy on particular today only, and for the long call, if the movement started to get on the right direction, I will be making money. So I don't require any amount of big movement to make money for a particular day, but for the expiry, I need a big movement. Now suppose we're gonna understand how what IV plays and why IV is so important looking into the option architecture by or making any strategy. So suppose if I'm taking this particular long call, maybe today or tomorrow, and I want to see that there's a like, as the election is also there, so and big companies are also announcing results, so there's a lots of probability of like event, probability of IV to change, and that's lots of event also going on. If I say, by suddenly if IV increase by, let's suppose, 10%, 11%, now what will be your payoff for how the payoff will change? So one thing to always, you should always notice and you should always consider while doing the options, that option and the employed volatility have the direct relationship. As the volatility will spike, the option premium will also spike. As the volatility cools down, option premium will also going to be get affected in a negative way. So when you are buying an option and volatility is going up, that is good for you, not good for when you're selling it. And when volatility is going down and you're also selling in any option, that is good for you, because you want, while writing an option, you want that premium to get reduced and reduced, and for that you want volatility also to cool down. So if I say if volatility surge up by 11% on that particular day. Now you can see that you made on a single like even on the single time, a single strike, even there's a no movement in the underlying, your option payoff has increased a bit, not too much, but it has increased a bit because of the increase in the volatility by 10%. Now we want to see the impact. What if the volatility has surged by 7%? Now you can see there's a small increase in the, one second, there's a small increase in the in the option payoff because of the increase in volatility. So this is what you can do in the scenario analysis, looking the effect of days to maturity. As you are getting close to the days to maturity, what will be your payoff? And this is why it comes handy, I'll tell you. So sometimes what happen, we assume or we predict that underlying का इतना तो भाई ऊपर नीचे movement आएगा, but it's not always possible. Sometimes is good and sometimes you like कि no, I have a confidence कि underlying में इतना movement आएगा आएगा. और कभी कभी क्या होता है, वो movement आने के चक्कर में we hold the options to for next couple of days or 3 days, which is the part you start losing money. So suppose if in the same scenario, if I hold this strategy for the next 4 days, I can see कि अगर underlying वहीं का वहीं रह गया, I will be in the on the losing on the I will start losing the premium from my options. So this is what you can do, calculate, you can see how the payoff can be. And then you can see अगर 4 दिन बाद अगर what if volatility decrease हो गई, let's say 5% से volatility decrease हो गई, now you can see there's a big gap that has came here. So this is what you can analyze your options payoff depending on the different conditions. So this was about the option payoff. I hope you have cleared. For any questions you can ask. So I think we all are clear with this tool, and I'm hoping that सबको समझ में आएगा how you can utilize this tool in a more effective way. Now we're gonna jump to the next tool we are taking today, and we are taking the built up. So built up is a quite a long tool, and we're gonna see I would say we're gonna see most of the important parts for it, and we're gonna see how it works rather than going for each and every part. We're gonna see how you can gain a overview about this tool. So in the built up you have two sections. The first one is the script and second one is the sector. So giving a small brief. So first in the in the script, you are looking for the built up of a particular stock here. You're gonna see the symbol wise today's how the build up is going on in the whole FNO segment, cycle of the built up for the last 60 days, and the future OI. In the same way, you're gonna see about the sector wise built up cycle for the last 60 days, and the sector wise historical OI, the data. So we're gonna see very quickly, as the function remains same in the most of it. It's just a difference of script and sector. So first let's start with the sector wise. So built up is a more concentrated towards the top down approach. So I'll tell how do I see the sector approach, sorry, built up tool. सो पहले मैं क्या करता हूँ बॉस कि मैं सबसे पहले देखता हूँ कि आज वो कौन से सेक्टर्स हैं जहाँ पे either there is a what kind of built up, so is a what kind of cumulative built up that is going on, or the cumulative price over action that is happening. So I'm looking prices in terms of future prices and the OI as the cumulative OI for the whole stocks that are in that particular sector. So let's take and PSU Bank and okay. So today you might have noticed there was a bleed, like a deep cut in the PSU and the NBFC in the, I think, nearby to 130 at 2. I think the whole sector was down for the PSU bank. The whole sector was down nearly 3.5%. NBFC was down by 2%. So what I have done, I have seen that there's lots of uh, like built up that is going on. Means there's something that's increasing the open interest, cumulative open interest for all these stocks in this particular sector. Same wise. So OI can see the cumulative OI for all these stocks that are in the particular sector. So I see PSU Bank was bleeding, NBSC was bleeding by 3.5-2%, and the cumulative OI for this particular sector was increasing, which give me an idea, okay, that market participants are increasing their bets into this particular sector and prices are going down. So it gives me an idea that what kind of thinking that market participants are keeping at here. But if you see in the private bank and bank nifty, the OI was quite good for the private bank and the bank nifty stocks, telecom, cement. So there was even there here the OI is increasing, so market participants are looking here as well, and the price are also increasing. So it gives me an idea कि अभी किस sector पे कैसे market participant are putting their bets. And suppose if a sector is down by 5%, 6%, इसका मतलब यही है कि उसके अंदर जितने stocks हैं उनमें भी कहीं ज्यादा movement हलचल हुआ होगा. That's why the cumulative price and OI is down. So this is a most of the top down approach. What I do first, I see the sector wise how the sectors are doing, where is there any sector which is bleeding most or increasing or gaining, how the OI is changing. So suppose there's a negligence OI and the price change in the infra, so I won't be interested looking into it. You can see media price is negligence like marginally declined by 0.16%, and the OI is okay, but price hasn't changed, so I won't go with it. But if I say auto, there's a deep cut. NBFC, there was a dip cut. I told you PSU, the whole sector, PSU bank was down 3.5%. So I would be looking into these stocks because इनमें कहीं पे ज्यादा action हो रहा है. So what I do after going to the sector, I do go to the symbol. So this is what I do. And built up, I would say, is in terms of very big tool. And so what we have tried here, providing you the color combination. And color, there are only four types of built up, that is long, short, long unwinding, short covering. And we have defined the colors to them. So if I say I want to look, if I say any stock in the written in the green L, that is long. If any index or stock has written in the S, that means short, or it's in the red color. In the same way, if you say blue color, that has written in the long unwinding, and yellow for the short covering. Now, what I do after looking into the sector, I do see what kind of built up that Nifty, Bank Nifty is having. So it gives me an idea. Okay, Nifty is in short by 1%. Bank Nifty is in long. Now, as you can say, Nifty short by 1%. Prices were down by 1%, and the OI has increased by 27%. That's huge. The OI increase was very good, and the prices were going down. That means the market participants are more confident. That's why they have increased their positions in the down in the when the prices are going down. So this gives me an idea. Okay, sectors are also bleeding. Nifty is also down. So I can see overall the market sentiments it's slightly on the lower side, or depends whether it was up or down. In the same way, after looking into stocks, what I do, I go and check all the FNO stock. Like I can say which are the stock who are gaining or losing. So you can say Havels, Axis, Federal, Jubilant Food. These were the stocks who gained today. And after that, you can see the OI. So OI tells you whether there was a winding going. So OI gives you an idea there was an increase in the open interest or the decline in the open interest. So I can say the Havels prices up 5%. OIs are also increased by 32%. OI, that's a huge increase as well. So I can say I can say that there's a long build up that is going on. Market participants are placing more bets when even on the price rise. So it gives us a long side. It gives a better idea. Okay, the market participants are confident with the price rise. In the same way, I can see for any other stocks what kind of build up that is going on. So L means when the long means when the price and OI both are going up. Then looking into the, so suppose I want to look into the long unwinding stocks कि बॉस आज वो कौन से स्टॉक्स थे जिनमें लॉन्ग अनवाइंडिंग हुई. सो आई कैन सी फिन निफ्टी, इंडेक्स, सेल एंड जेएमआर फार्मा. तीन ही ऐसे स्टॉक थे जिनमें आज लॉन्ग अनवाइंडिंग हुई. जेएमएन फार्मा में कोई खास नहीं है, सेल में भी इट्स ओके, निफ्टी फिन में भी कोई खास नहीं है. सो देयर इज नथिंग टू लुक हियर. बट यू कैन सी द लॉन्ग अनवाइंडिंग, मतलब प्राइजेस भी गिर रहे हैं, ओआई भी गिर रहा है बॉस. देन शॉर्ट, and short today was something I want to show. Yes, so Bank of Baroda. You might see today Bank of Baroda is almost down by 10%. OI has increased by 44% almost, 44 and more. What does it tell you? It tells you there's a short built up that has been made today in the Bank of Baroda. Means price has declined by 10%, OI has increased by 44%. You can see the market participants has increased, like new increase in the open interest by almost 44% when the prices are also declining. So you can see the kind of confidence or what kind of market participant thinking about the particular stock. In the same way, you can see which are those stock whose OI has increased a lot. Maruti, you can see the in the price decline, the market participants are increasing their bets. HUL, Hindustan Unilever, Ambuja Cement, PNB, Bank of Baroda, Hindalco, SDFC, Naukri. So you can see that prices are declining, but still market participants are increasing their bets, which is a significant idea about their actions on that particular stock. I hope I'm getting clear with till here. So meanwhile, if you want to ask something, you can do. As this particular tool is very big, and this particular tool have lots of things, while though the basic concept remains same of the built up, that is long unwinding and short covering. In the last you can see the short covering. There's only Aarti India where the short covering was there. So this was about the one thing which you can see from here. Then it comes to the sector. Now if I say that we have seen PSU Bank were losing today. In the PSU Bank, you can say except for the SBI, every other stock was losing. Bank of Baroda 10%, Can Bank, PNB almost 2.5%. SBI was gaining. You can see the quantum of open increase in the last day. Then we saw NBFC. There were like lots of stocks in the NBFC as well. I think all these stocks in the NBFC has lost today. M&M Finance 5%, almost 4.8%, 5%. Shriram Transport 2.5%, SDFC Life 2%, iBull 1%. So you can see that NBFC, where we have seen the top-down approach. First, we have the sector. Now we are looking towards that particular sector और उसके अंदर कौन से स्टॉक है और कैसे उनमें how the prices and OI has changed. You can see SDFC Life price declined by 2%, OI increased by 37, almost 30%. Sorry. So it says that the short build-up that is going on here. So this is the way you can see the type of build-up that is going on in a particular stock, kind of build-up you can see in a particular sector. Now we're gonna see and jump to the cycle. And what is cycle? So cycle is something which I'm looking कि एक पूरे round में कैसा built up हुआ है. And that round to max we are taking 60 days. Max to max we are taking 60 days. So I'm more interested. So rather than looking for a one particular day of a built up, I would be more interested looking for the last 20 days. मतलब एक महीने का trading session का built up कैसा था, or maybe looking towards the 2 months or 3 months. Max to max I can see for the 60 days का built up कैसा था. So now you can see from here. You can say there's nothing written L, L, U, S or short covering. But what we have tried providing you the color combination, which comes very sophisticated while doing the analysis. And the reason is, I can see, let's take for the example, Adani Enterprise, Adani Enterprise, long built up, after that continuous 3 short built up, unwinding, short covering. So once you get into the habit of looking into these stocks, looking into how the OI and the price, like the built up was being into the last couple of days, so I can see, okay, Berger Paint last 3 दिन से short built up ही हो रहा है. Before that, Biocon आज long built up था पर उसके 4 दिन पहले short built up ही जा रहा है. So here you can identify the stocks, what kind of built up that is going on in that particular stock or the script. In the same way, you can also look for the sector wise when you go to the sector cycle. Now say let's take, I want to see ki last 20 दिन में, now I'm getting the data for the last 20 days. We're gonna sort slowly so you will be able to understand. And now I want to see कि last 20 days में वो कौन से stocks हैं जिनमें long built up हुआ है. So I will be searching long. So okay. So as soon as take the 20 days as my look back period, I'm seeing long कि किन में long हुआ है और कितनी बार हुआ है. So let's take by 10 times. तो पिछले 10 दिन में I can see only 3 stocks which were in the long. तो पूरे इस महीने में ये बजाज ऑटो, हेवेल्स एंड आईसीआईसीआई बैंक ही ऐसे स्टॉक्स हैं जिनमें 10 बार लॉन्ग बिल्टअप हुआ है लास्ट 20 दिन में. से 11 times there were no stocks. So I'm getting an idea कि लास्ट एक महीने में लास्ट पूरे एक महीने के ट्रेडिंग सेशन में Bajaj Auto, Havells and ICICI the only were in the long. Even today market fall by around 1.1%, something more than 1%. Even though this were in the long side, I can see the build up that is going on. Continuous series of built up in the Havells from 18 Jan. Before that only was 3 or 4 short built up, and rest of them were in the long built up. So this is what it helps me कि हर एक दिन का OIN प्राइस देखना पड़ेगा. उससे अच्छा मुझे अगर कलर कॉम्बिनेशन में मिल जाता है कि आज ग्रीन है मींस लॉन्ग, ब्लू है मींस लॉन्ग अनवाइंडिंग, रेड है मींस शॉर्ट एंड येलो तो शॉर्ट कवरिंग. So I can perfectly gauge a good knowledge of what kind of built up the stock is seeing for the last 20 days or 40 days or whatsoever you want to see the time. So this was about this cycle. Then you have the last future OIH. I think you all are getting clear with the cycle and this script tool. Now we are going to look towards the future OI historical, and this tool comes in a more practical way. Looking here, if I look here, that in this graph, what does it trying to show? So बॉस ये मुझे बता रहा है कि हर एक दिन में कितना OI है, किस प्रकार का बिल्टअप है, एंड what kind of price movement it had. Increase the time frame into by January 1st. Okay. So now I can see that what kind of build up that was happened, a quantum of OI was there. If you see on this data, you can see that OI, so increase in OI shows that key market participants were increasing their bets. So till almost to March 20, March 20, the OI was increasing. The Nifty price was going down. The OI increase in OI when the view side, you can see there was lots of shorts and unwinding that happened in that time. Then after that, you can say the OI declined in a huge way, which shows the reduce in the market participant confidence level at this point. Then again, slowly Nifty was taking off. Nifty was taking on the higher note, and OI started to build slowly and slowly. Now you can see today the OI range to the level of 17,32,200, 2,500. So this is how the OI trade in trend were increasing. It shows whether the market participants had the more confidence or not. Here now I can see that okay, that what kind of built up we have seen that green is long, blue is long unwinding, red is short, and yellow is short covering. Now I'm more interested looking that like what kind of whether how much OI was increased or decreased. That is called absolute OI. So absolute OI I can see whether they're increasing or decreasing, and if it's increasing, whether it's in the long side or the short side. If it's declining, whether it's in the long unwinding or short covering. So I can see there's a short built up that happened today with the increase in the OI. So I'll take the OI change percentage. So I can say the OI for Nifty today increased by 27%. And you can see the continuous fall in the prices in the last almost five trading session. From 21st, 22, 23rd, 24th, 28, sorry, 21st, 22, 25th, 27, and 28th. Prices are declining. You can see there's unwinding that is going on, then short built up, unwinding, then again short built up. So it tells you and gives me an idea that what are the level of confidence that market participants are holding into any particular stock. So this was about the built up tool, and I would say ki rather take your approaches to from top to bottom, keeping the view of what kind of built up that a stock is looking. So this was about from the built up tool. I hope you have understood the built up tool, and if you have any question, you can just raise it here. Uh, so, um, so I have a question that after day end data update, this short can turn to long unwinding curve. Yes, so Mr. Bharat, there's a possibility as the data get updated, the how copy will come, the data will get updated, and lots of prices and the OI will adjust. So there's a possibility that the data will get updated. Shorts can turn into long unwinding. Possibility only if that short like prices also are only down. But you can see the quantum of OI increase today in the further Nifty, the OI has almost increased by, I can say, let me take into the percentage term. Today's OI increase is on almost around 27, more than 27%. So turning into this unwinding side would be on a possible, but let's see how the data get updated once the file comes. So I would say the data will get updated, but turning into the long unwinding side on the very high probability of that getting into turn to long unwinding is a low side. But still, we'll see how the data get changed. Any other questions, or we can move to the next one. So let's move to the next tool that we are taking, and we are taking result analysis. So now we will be looking that how the stock price has moved before and after the announcement of the result. So if I say that before announcement of the result, what kind of stock does have a move, like what is the trend, whether it goes on the negative side because of the uncertainty of the result, or it's always on the upside because of the other factors. So we're gonna see the behavior of stocks before and after the result. And uh, putting a disclaimer over here, the most of the time the movement of the stock depends on the how the stock uh, has announced its results, whether in the positive note, negative note. So that too depends a lot of time. But we are looking and doing our the stock price movement before and after of the result announcement. So if I say we have a stock, so let's take Maruti. I don't know. I just picked one. If you have any other stock, you can also suggest. We're gonna take that one. So we have the Maruti here. Now I'm looking here कि मारुति का रिजल्ट आने के 2 दिन पहले हाउ द स्टॉक प्राइस मूवमेंट लाइक कैसा एक मूवमेंट रहता है वेदर मारुति के 2 दिन लाइक 2 दिन पहले से रिजल्ट आने तक स्टॉक पॉजिटिव मूव करता है नेगेटिव मूव करता है या दोनों साइड रहता है तो वी कैन सी कि कितना नेगेटिव जा सकता है कितना पॉजिटिव जा सकता है सो दैट टू डिपेंड्स तो इफ आई से मारुति रिजल्ट आने के 2 दिन पहले से रिजल्ट आने तक मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम इट रिमेन्ड ऑन द नेगेटिव साइड और पॉजिटिव भी रहा है तो यू कैन सी द हाईएस्ट क्वांटम वेंट टू अराउंड 2.5%. उसके ऊपर नहीं रहा नीचे साइड सो आई कैन से कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मारुति रिमेन्स either flat or slightly on the lower side. this is the last almost 3 years data we are taking. So for result, almost 12 to 13 results we are looking into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's almost 4 quarters in a year. So we are taking 3 years past data. Now say I will take and increase my till 2015. So since 2015 I am looking कि मारुति जब भी अनाउंस करता है रिजल्ट उसके एक या दो दिन पहले कैसा परफॉर्मेंस रहता है. So you can say till October result of 2017 तब तक बॉस मारुति रिजल्ट आने के पहले काफी अच्छे से परफॉर्म किया है, ऑलवेज ऑन द पॉजिटिव साइड. बट यू कैन सी जब जनवरी 2018 से रिजल्ट आना चालू हुआ है तब से मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मारुति remained on the negative side or on the flat side, I would say. No, mostly concentrated toward the negative side. Same way, around अक्टूबर जैन तक मारुति रिजल्ट आने के बाद अच्छा रहता है. सो पोस्ट रिजल्ट टू डिपेंड आफ्टर द रिजल्ट the stock price depends how the announcement was made, whether it was up to the expectation or not. But having a data looking into कि okay मेरे पास अगर पिछले 12 रिजल्ट का एक एस्टिमेट है कि 2 दिन पहले या 2 दिन बाद एक मूवमेंट कैसे रहता है तो आई कैन गेज अ नॉलेज. इवन आई थिंक मारुति posted a good number today even though result is on the negative side. Sorry, the stock performance for today was the negative side. So I'm cumulative looking for the 2 days. So again, the tomorrow still there. So we'll see the movement. But I can see that after the result, sorry, this is for the last result. Sorry, that's my mistake. This is for the last result. I can say कि last time भी आया था तब भी आने और result आने के बाद और पहले भी on a negative note रहा है. Now if I say I'm making an option strategy, आज मेरे पास 3 दिन बाकी है, so I'm gonna increase my days कि रिजल्ट आने के 3 दिन पहले से परफॉर्मेंस कैसा रहता है. So now you can see most of the time it has remained from January 2018 it has remained on the negative side. But last में कुछ अच्छे रिजल्ट आए थे after COVID. So I always take 2020 as an outliner. I don't see much of the 2020 data. It's like it has impacted on the both side, on the positive and the negative side. So I keep that outliner. But apart from that, you can see most of the time it has remained on the negative side. After the result, how the performance was. So after the result depends on the how the result came. So if I say 3 दिन result आने के बाद और 3 दिन result आने के पहले. So I can say result आने के बाद 3 दिन बाद there was a deep cut twice and normal flattishness in the after the result. Now if I'm making an option strategy and I want to know कि एक stock कितना move कर सकता है, so this is not only कि stock कितना ही move करेगा, but I can say कि stock on a positive note if I take for the last 2 years from let's say from January, I can say कि last result आने के 3 दिन पहले से stock का performance -8% तक गया है और +8% तक भी गया है. It's just telling me कि in a good way जब अच्छा रिजल्ट आया था तब स्टॉक 3 दिन में 8% तीन स्टॉक रिजल्ट आने के पहले स्टॉक 8% भागा भी है और 8% गिरा भी है, टूटा भी है. So I can make an estimate okay कि there's a possibility कि 3 दिन in the span of 3 days it can either can go upside or downside in the range of 8%. Now after result is been announced 3 दिन का टाइम है. I can say टूटना होता है तो 6% तक भी टूटता है और बढ़ना होता है तो आई कैन से ओनली अराउंड 4.5%. Now I can estimate and I can have the estimate कि कितना एक स्टॉक नीचे गया है पहले रिजल्ट आने के पहले या रिजल्ट आने के बाद और कितना एक स्टॉक ऊपर गया है पहले रिजल्ट आने और जाने के बाद. So you can do that, you can analyze that data कि कितना एक स्टॉक ऊपर नीचे जा सकता है in its worst case. And this is not a disclaimer, putting a disclaimer, this is not a कि इतना ही ऊपर नीचे जा सकता है, but it just giving you an idea कि पहले कितना ऊपर या नीचे गया है. Now moving to this part, so this part is also same. जो हमने टेबल व्यू में देखा वही हम ग्राफ व्यू में देख रहे हैं। पर यहाँ पे हम देख रहे हैं कि जो ग्रे बार है ये बताता है कि रिजल्ट आने के बाद का परफॉर्मेंस, और ऑरेंज बार बताता है रिजल्ट आने के पहले का परफॉर्मेंस। Then you can change your number to maybe, like suppose if you want to say for 4 days, रिजल्ट आने के 4 दिन पहले से मुझे परफॉर्मेंस देखना है, तो आई कैन से कि मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम it has remained in the recently it has remained in the negative side before the 4 days before the announcement of result, and post of it most of the time it has remained in the red also. So you can see the quantum of the magnitude of increase and decrease based on the previous performance. So we have taken Maruti. You can also take any of the FNO stock. You can select according according to a strategy. You can select the movement of the stock, and then you can select from when you want to see the results, stock performance. So this was about the result analysis tool. I know we have taken it very quickly in the span of I think 14 to 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, I would say 12 to 15 minutes, but it's just a very simple tool to understand the functionality. We have seen key functionality wise what is the function of this tool. So it's giving me idea कि पहले पिछले टाइम में जब रिजल्ट अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है तो रिजल्ट आने के 3 दिन पहले, 4 दिन पहले और अप टू 10 दिन पहले, और रिजल्ट आने के अप टू 10 डेज बाद तक कैसा परफॉर्मेंस रहा है किसी एक स्टॉक का, मींस स्टॉक कितना अप गया है या डाउन गया है, यू कैन चेक दैट. So, is there any point you want to ask regard to this tool? You can ask, or we'll move to the next tool. So, Miss, I think I question. There's one question, Ketki. Okay. So, Mr. Ketki has asked, what is the ideal look back period for monthly expiry? Uh, I did not get your question for which regard you are asking that. What is the ideal look back period for monthly expiry? In terms of built up or a result analysis? This ideal look back period. Okay, let me just go again. So for the monthly expiry, it's 20 days because we have the 20 trading session. So what I'm getting through your question is asking ki, how many days we look back period should be for a monthly expiry. So monthly expiry ideally have a 20 days, 20, sometimes 21 or 19 in terms of the number of holiday that is coming up. So 20 is the monthly trading days you have. So now we'll move to the last tool we are taking, that is the daily stop and target. And this is like a normal tool, but it comes with a lots of practical practical things. So if I say that, so we all know the concept of concept of volatility. So volatility क्या बताता है भाई? वोलेटिलिटी बोलता है कि अगर आज वोलेटिलिटी 20 है, मींस 20% से एनुअल वोलेटिलिटी, वो बताता है कि स्टॉक प्राइस जो है कैन हैव अ मूवमेंट ऑफ 20% इन अ 1 year, either side. Either it can go up or it can go down. So volatility क्या बता रहा है? The stock price movement that could have in a period of a year. Now what we have tried and doing, that taking the volatility of a particular day. So daily volatility we have calculated for all the FNO stocks, and we have tried putting up in the making this target and stop according to it. So if I want to see volatility based build up, daily stop and target, I want to see कि किसी एक स्टॉक का या इंडेक्स का what could be the range or what could be the likely movement based on the volatility on the upside or downside. So we have tried calculating here. So here you can see for the Nifty, Bank Nifty, and all the FNO stock, Fin Nifty, for everything. You can see the future prices, price change that happened today in that particular stock. Then below that, not below, besides that, you can see the lower and the upper bound. So lower bound says what could be the lower range that a particular symbol can have. Like, so first we have the conservative, moderate, and aggressive. On the upper hand you have the conservative, moderate, and aggressive. That's for the upper side, and then this is for the lower side. You can see if this is your future price, this is the price change, and I want to see the one agar based on the 1 day volatility, what could be my the lower and the upper bound. So from here you can see what is your lower and the upper bound based on the volatility for all the FNO stock. So this is just a very simple tool as well, but it comes very unique when you want to see and want to know the levels based on the volatility, that what is a 1 day volatility and how a stock price movement can have in the upper and the lower side. You can also search for a particular symbol that we have the ITC, let's say ITC. So once I search ITC, I can see the ITC future price. What is a pricing that happened, and based on the volatility, what is my the conservative upper bound and the lower bound. So this was about the daily stop and target tool. So we are like mostly done with the tools that we have taken today. And if you have any doubts or if you want to have any query, you can ask me here, or you can also ask to the concerned person or the advisor of the Quantsapp, or you can also mail us on the support@quantsapp.com. You can share your feedback. You can also give the suggestion as you want to have regarding the tools. You can also put your comment and feedbacks on the YouTube. So this demo session you will also find in the YouTube live, where you can put your feedback if you have liked the today's session, and if you have liked uh, if you have gained some knowledge about the concept tool and the how effectively you can use them, you can put your feedback over there as well. You can subscribe us on the YouTube and the other social media platform, as we come with a lots of learning approaches. We provide a lots of learning material, not material, but we provide a lots of learning experience over there. We provide a lots of strategies to learn new terms and terminologies, different demo videos you will find over there. So this was about the today's demo session, and for any inquiry query, you can ask to advisor or mail us on the support@concept.com. So we're gonna take the last Q&A session for today, and then we're gonna wind up the session. So we have a question regarding to rollover by Mr. Kitki. Question is, in rollover option, okay, how we interrupt rollover cost and rollover data. Okay, so we'll go to the rollover. 1 second, just taking you out there to the rollover. So this is a rollover. So I'll tell you how I see the rollover. So if you ask me ki, what is this rollover and what is the significance of it and why do we I need to look into rollover. So what happens when I say that, let's take it by an example. So suppose you have an insurance policy which is expiring this month, okay, and you say that hmm, वो इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी का अब next month either you can renew that or you can lapse that. In the same way I see, अगर कोई future contract है, so I want to keep, whether I want to, by paying a small fee, I want to keep that future contract, or I can lapse that, or I can exit the contract. Same way like an insurance policy. So insurance policy जब वो खत्म होने आता है, so we keep that, or we go and renew that insurance policy by paying a small amount, or या उससे insurance policy को छोड़ देते. Same way in the rollover, when you have a future contract looking in the futures, if you want to see, if you are looking that whether how many market participants are keeping that positions with them for the next expiry, or whether they are exiting their exiting the future positions contract for that particular expiry. So now, from getting from one expiry to another expiry requires a small amount, that is called the rollover cost. By taking your this month expiry to the next expiry. So suppose you have a nifty future contract and you want to keep that future contract with you. What you are doing, that you are rolling over your future contract to the next month or either to the next series. So sorry, for the next expiry or either to the next expiry. So from this expiry, I want to see how many how many rollover has been done from January expiry to either February or to the March expiry. So here I am looking कि 28 जनवरी का एक्सपायरी था आज. फेब में जो मंथली एक्सपायरी आ रही है फ्यूचर्स की, उसमें कितने रोल ओवर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रोल ओवर हो गए, मतलब इस एक्सपायरी के जितने फ्यूचर्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थे वो कितने रोल ओवर हो गए टू द नेक्स्ट एक्सपायरी. So this is what rollover tells you. Percentage just gives a percentage term that tells you ki how many percentage of rollover has done from this expiry to the next expiry. Now the rollover cost. So suppose आज सपोज जनवरी एक्सपायरी का फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चल रहा था अराउंड 100 रुपीज पे, एंड फेब की एक्सपायरी का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट चल रहा है 101 पे. सो देयर इज अ स्लाइटली डिफरेंस. And so now what you are going to pay is that 1 rupee extra from your January to the your February expiry. So that will be your rollover cost. So rollover cost, the amount, so insurance maybe you also pay a renewal cost in the same terms, in you are paying roll cost in the rollover for rolling your January to February. So difference of your next expiry to the current expiry future prices, that will be the rollover. Either it can be positive or negative. Agar positive hai, so you're gonna pay a small like the difference to rollover, and if it's negative then you will be receiving, because abhi suppose 100 ka future chal raha hai, or for the next month is future contract is trading at 99, So you will be getting 1 rupee by rolling over. So this is what a rollover is and the rollover cost. I hope I'm clear, Mr. Ketki. And if you have understood, please you can tell. So okay. So if there is any other question, you can surely ask us on the to the advisors, or you can also connect tomorrow as we have the daily live demo session. And for your feedback, we'll please share your feedback as well on the YouTube. So this video is also this demo session is also live in the YouTube. I would really appreciate if you go and give your honest feedback regarding the session and regarding the tools and the usefulness of these tools. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Neeraj, you can ask your question, but be quick for it. सॉरी मिस्टर नीरज, मैं समझा नहीं आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं. You can type your message over here on the chat box. Sorry, Mr. Neeraj, we can't do so. So if you have a question, you can put on the chat box. Okay, for the trap indicator you are asking. So trap indicator is a concept proprietary tool, and so what does a trap indicator do? Trap indicator is trapping the open and the trap position of the writers. So जो writers होते हैं for any on any stocks or index, so trap indicator do trap these positions. So there are some parameters on which it traps the position. So the parameters are on the terms of open interest, IB, prices. So these are some parameters. There are lots of parameters. There are some parameters who are tracking this these stocks. वही मिस्टर नीरज. सो दे लाइक एज आई टोल्ड यू कि इसके कुछ पैरामीटर्स होते हैं. सो पैरामीटर्स के अगर बेस्ड पे, सो सपोज दे आर 3 पैरामीटर्स. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर ट्रैप इंडिकेटर में वो पोजीशन ही तभी आती है जब उसमें वो तीनों पैरामीटर्स में वो सेटिस्फाई करता है. एंड सर्टेन थिंग्स, if that particular thing goes out of the parameters, so it takes out. Thank you, Mr. Neeraj. Thank you so much for this valuable information. And so, if you want to share your more experience, you can also write on the Twitter regarding the comment you have posted here. You can also post on the Twitter on the social media. And I would really appreciate the efforts. Mr. Neeraj, if you have any other question, you can also contact to the advisor, or you can also contact to the to our support team by support@Quantsapp. And if you want to share any valuable feedback, you can do so in the Twitter, and you can also give other demo session feedback in the YouTube. So we're gonna end here, and I really congratulate you for this wonderful journey with the concept you have.